Hello everyone. Excellent. Today we are going to see how to run background tasks in ASP.NET Core Web API. So in this article, Mr. Peter Gregerson, he is the person who wrote an excellent article how to structure the background processing for tasks, how we need to handle these things. So he has explained some technical stuffs. Based on this tutorial, this article, I'm going to create I'm going to set up the background service to run a scheduled task. So for let's say for example, we need every 10 minutes or every 1 hour a certain task has to be run and do some activities. So how we need to architect, how we need to set up this in this structure with the with inbuilt .NET Core. So we currently we have some more options like to running the background task. We have Hangfire, Quatress.NET, Pingdom. So these are the solution to run the background task, which is out of the box. We can use it, but still we can configure our own method, our own way of implementing. So we can customize however how we need. So this is the basic, and this is kind of infrastructure setup to schedule a particular task in a certain period of intervals. So let's go and learn that. Let's create a new project. ASP.NET Core. So here I'm going to create new project. Demo. So I'm going to create I'm going to create an empty web API with HTTP access, and once it is created, so the basic is ready now, and I will try to rebuild the project, and I am going to run it in a console. So it is ready, and sample API is running now. So this is the by default API method from this template. So this will started serving the data. So which means we have some basic web API is there. So from here we can see the logs. So this is started now. So what we can do, I will stop this application, and now I am going to create two new now I am going to create the background service. So first of all, I will go here and add new folder, background service. So I am going to create a new background service here. So for that, what I will do, I will add a new class here, background service. So I will make this class as an abstract, because this is going to be something like a infrastructure. Actually we are not going to do any work here, so we just construct our basic things, and this will inherit a hosted service. So this is the basic library that we have from .NET Core. So we need to handle this, and we have to add two new methods. This high hosted service have two methods, one is start and stop. So for every background service has a starting point and ending point, stopping place. So we need to mention how when the service has to stop, when the service has to start. So for this, first of all, we need to tell some task has to be performed, right? So we need to take some task, then we need to start the task and stop the task. So for that, what I will do, I will just create one task executing like this is the one I am going to execute it. So what I will do, I'm going to create a I'm going to create a I'm going to start that task, right? So here executing task, hold, execute. So this is the method I'm going to execute my task. So what I do, we have this cancellation token. So this cancellation token is nothing but when the particular task has to be cancelled. So for this we need to maintain some more flag. We can put it as a read only property, cancellation token source. Okay, from where the place this is going to stop. So I am making it new cancellation source. Okay, so what I will do, I will just use it here dot token. I have a token, I am creating this cancel token and I am passing it here. So I need to create this method. So I am going to create this method as a task. So this is going to be a internal for this background service. So I am going to make it as a virtual method, so that I can use it. It will be applicable for all the inherited classes. It's obviously it's going to be a task, asynchronous, execute asynchronous. So I'm just taking this one, and we are going to pass this cancellation source, right, token. So this is the token we are adding it. So I'm taking this cancellation token, stopping token. So what I will do now, here this is the method that we are going to execute some task. So we need to handle it when the task is going to perform. So we need to check until the cancellation is requested. Until that, the task has to be performed. For example, it has to check we need to trigger the task or not. We need to continuously checking. So for that, what we do, we can do we can perform do while loop, and that is supposed to be not cancellation requested. So if the cancellation is not requested, until then we can do our work. So for this, what I will do, I will create an abstract method which will allow the users can create their own custom task. So for now we are going to make the infrastructure. So for that we are allowing, so we are creating abstract method as a task. Let's say it's a process. So we are going to execute some process. Okay, so this is going to be a process. So this process is going to await, this process is going to execute. So I'm just mentioning it here. Okay, so also what I will do, I will just wait for 5 seconds or some intervals, that I will put some delay, so that the next iteration will be happen with not happen very immediately. So we will put some block stopper. So this will help us for deadlock, to avoid deadlock situation. Okay, so this will help. So what we do, first we created one task. Okay, so then we execute, we created, we declared a task, and we are going to execute the task. Okay, so here we obviously this method is going to in the start method, this is going to return the type of task. Okay, this is supposed to be task completed. So which means if this method executed successfully, which means our the task is completed. So we will return the response as a completed response. So this is our response from here. So we wanted to check one more thing here. We will execute if the task is completed. So it's already completed, but it's requesting again to start the new the same task. So obviously this is a background side, so it will run one by one, right? So for that we will put one condition saying that the executing task is completed or not. If it is completed, then we will just return it. If it is not completed, then we will say it is completed, just for our completed. So the task is completed. So this is the thing that we need to do. So we implemented the start method. So the second step, we need to do the stopping. So when this is going to be a stop. So obviously first we need to check whether the task is started or not, it has a value or not. So first point, we need to check executing task is null or not. So this, if it is null, then we just return null, because obviously we do not do any work if it is null. So we just return it. So what I will do, I will do cancel. So we need to cancel the task, right? So I will just mention it exception here. So now we need to stop, means the existing task has to be stopped. So we have a dot cancel. So what we did, we have created the cancellation token here. So for this we need to stop this to say to cancel. And there is one more small trickier thing we have to mention, that when this particular stop is completed, we need to wait until the task completes, or we need to tell that cancellation token to stop the executing thing. So for that, what we do, instead of try catch, what we do, we will make it as a finally. So this will run every time. Okay, we will make a await task dot when any of our executing task, whatever task which is running, we can put a delay. Whatever it is running, we need to wait until it finish, because we are requesting the cancel, so that has to be stopped, right? So this is the cancellation token. So we have one cancellation token which is received, that has to be wait until it's finished. Okay, so for this, what we need to do, we have to make this method as a asynchronous and then virtual, so that all the client all the inherited classes will make use utilize this. So okay, so I'm removing the null to fix the problem. Okay, so this is the thing. So currently what we have done is we have created a background service, and this service we have make a start, stop and the execution method. So these three are the basic steps, and we will going to create a scoped process. That is going to be the next part that we will see now. Excellent. So now we are going to create new class called scoped processor. Scoped processor is let me create that. So this going to use the background service. So we have already created the background service, and in that service we have defined one method called process. So this abstract method we are going to implement it here for the purpose of to execute, to process the task. So obviously I am going to create a abstract method, abstract class here. So what is the main purpose of this scoped processor? Is a processor which helps to collect all the scopes and dependencies used in our ASP.NET application, entire application, and process it to our task. So it will give all the scopes and dependencies, it will collect all the dependencies, everything, and give it to the task and to perform that thing. So let us create this one. So I'm going to create a constructor for this. So for this we have a service scope factory. So this is the one which contains all the service scope factories. So I'm taking this one and I'm passing this one to our base class to this particular background service, which means this whatever we do here, it will be synchronized with background service class also. So what I will do, I will just create a service factory an internal method. So I'm going to create this one. I'm going to create a new field, private field, service factory. So I have created here. Then I'm going to make use of this one. So I will remove this one. I'm going to use scope, which means all the scope that I have from this factory, and I'm going to create new scope based on the scope factory. In this particular scope factory, I'm going to create a new scope, which means the background service able to run on this service factory. This is a application wide service factory. You can go inside, you can see all the instance of our service, all instance of our dependency scopes will be maintained here. So from there I'm going to create a new scope for our new task is going to run. So here I'm adding process in scope. So I'm taking this scope and pass it as service provider. So we created a process and we have supplied our newly created scope. So for this we need to create a new method. So I'm going to create a new method here, process in scope, which is again it's going to be an abstract one, because this method is going to implement it in our new the actual task implementation. I will make asynchronous to fix the error. So we have this one. This is a I will make this one as a public, so that another task will be executed. Okay, so let this one to be here and make it as this one. So I will remove this implementation part, so that the inherited class, child class, will make use of this one. So for now we are good. We have organized a processor, and we are going to use this processor to schedule our task. Okay, to schedule our task, what we need to do, we have to create a new class for scheduling. So for that, what we have to do, we have a NuGet library called ncrontab. So everybody have an idea about what is ncrontab is. Ncrontab is nothing but to run particular particular task in multiple occurrence, multiple time. It is basically a scheduler. So we are going to use this one in our method. So I'm taking this package reference, I'm copying it here and adding it into our application. So this is our application. So I'm just adding it here. So I will add this one. So this will reload the project. Sorry, I have made some mistake, I guess. Okay, I need to create item group. inside that I need to mention it. So I hope the problem will resolve now. Okay, it is resolved. So I made a small mistake there, which caused the entire project is got out. Okay. So now the ncrontab is ready now. Okay. So what we need to do? We need to create a scheduled processor. So what I will do? I will just go here and I will create a new class. I am going to introduce a new class. So this will use the scope processor which we have previously created, and this have one method. So we have this method. So this method we have to override it here. We have to write as a override thing. Okay. So I will make this class also abstract because it's again it's going to be a infrastructure oriented one. So I am going to have it here. So here we have installed the NuGet package called ncrontab to run particular thing. So first we need to create a private variable cron tab schedule to schedule our process. Then I am going to have a date and time when I need to run particular thing. Date and time. When is the next run I am going to make it. So this is the one, and next thing is I am going to allow the user to set it up whenever they wanted. Make it as a abstract because we can have multiple what we can say, multiple tasks to run. So I am going to make a schedule. So I will make this property to get only. Okay. This you can use this scheduler. You can run multiple background tasks. You can set it up some 10 minutes. I need to run particular task. If I wanted to take, for example, if I wanted to run a task in 2 tasks. So first task every 10 minutes and the second task is every 1 minute. So we can define this one. So whenever the actual task is implemented, that time we can mention it here. So we are going to provide one more method. So here what we will do, we need to mention the schedule as a crontab parse. We will mention this schedule. So we are going to mention some string. That string is going to be a scheduler, crontab scheduler. So that we will see here in this article. He has mentioned this one. So we can get some more information from this cron, how cron is set up, how it is working. So is ideally we have stars. For each star, asterisk is going to have represent minute, hour, daily, day, month, year of the week, day of the week, and we can expand it as it's kind of a Unix related stuff. So we need to define our thing. So I will explain you little bit this later on this course. So this is the scope processor that we are going to implement it now. So what I will do, I will going to create a task. One moment. So what we do, we have to write a method for we need to write a method to override this one with cancellation token. So what we do, we have to override this method. What actually I am going to do, I am just taking this one in the scope processor, I am going to overwrite this one. So what I do, override this task with cancellation. So in the do while, I have this particular setup is already there, so only thing I need to do this part. Okay, so for now I will just remove this. Okay, so what I will do, I will first take what is the current time, date time dot now. So I am taking the current time and I am going to decide what is the next run time. So I have to define sorry, actually I am doing it in the wrong place. Schedule, yeah, here I wanted to do it exactly. So here in this schedule I am going to decide what is my next run. Next run is going to be a schedule dot next occurrence. I am going to tell when this is going to happen. So my initial, when I started this scope, I will set that execute the current time of that. Okay, so now as I said earlier, here what we do, we need to decide what is our current time, where so I have decided if our next greater than our next run, then we will avoid the process. This process is nothing but we have mentioned it here in the scoped processor. So it will get all the scopes and pass it to here. So we will avoid this process and we will mention that next what is our next run, that is going to be a schedule dot next occurrence. Now we will mention the same time. Okay, so after that I will do that delay like we have done it here, this one. So it's just a tweak of our schedule. So we are going to make a delay of that. We will make a 5 seconds delay. So this is the actual process that we are going to actual task we are going to execute. Whatever the task, we can define it and we can use it in our application. So I will just compile everything, make sure that there is no error. So here we have a build a success, and currently we have done it. So the next step we are going to do is we are going to create our actual task to run the project, run the background task. Okay, we will see that in next. Excellent. So now we need to create a background tasks, so which is going to execute and for a particular period of time. Every instance is going to run. So what we will do, I will just create one more, sorry, I will create a new folder here mentioning scheduled task. So this here I'm going to have I'm going to create multiple task or single task, whatever based on our requirement we can create the task. So first thing, what I will do, I will just print the message. So some message, whether it is running success, something like that. So for sample task, I am doing some sample task here. Here I am going to create sample. So sample task 1. So I am creating this one and making it, and this supposed to be inherited from scheduled processor. What we have here, scheduled processor. This class we have to inherit. So we are inheriting this one, so which requires some class has to be implemented. So this method process in scope. So now we are going to do it. So the first step is we need to create a constructor. Here what I will do, I will create an interface. I will take the service factory interface, and pass to base class, so that I can synchronize with, I need to do this abstraction. I need to use what I will do. I will try to fix the problem by adding this has to come from I will remove the unused things, and so what it is required then, container builder, let me figure out. Sorry, what I need I taken wrongly. I think I service scope factory. This scope factory we need to provide. Okay, so there was a mistake, sorry for that. Okay, so we take this scope and pass it to the scheduler. So scheduler will pass it to the background server, so it will be aligned all the scopes. So now we need to mention our task when on what particular intervals the task has to run. So for this, previously we have discussed here about cron, how we need to set it up. So here the first will be minute and hour and day. So which day I need, for example every month I need to run on 25th or 28th, I need to run some periodic report, or I need to generate some report and send it to someone, or every day 10 o'clock I need to run this task and send it to some I need to create a report, generate a report and send it to some email. So like that scenarios we can do this. So what I did, so basically I will this is a string, so based on that syntax here I am going to mention it. So I can mention 0 to 9 59. So what I do, I will take here star 1 minute. So for each minute it is there. So I will make rest of them are as it is. So it will run every minute. 1 minute it will run. So every 1 minute it will run. So such a way I can configure. If I put 10, every 10 minutes it will run. Okay. So for now I will make it as 1 minute. Okay. Every 1 minute it will run. So here for the actual task what we are going to do, we need to implement it here. For now what I do, I just make it as a console dot write line. I will just type it, my sample task is running and I make it as a date time dot now dot to string to short time. Okay. So what it will return? Okay. Okay. Let it be to string. We'll see what will happen. Okay, I think it is not required, I guess. So since it is a task, we need to make it as a complete. Return type as task completed. Okay, completed task. So so far we are good, and we are going to run this one, and we will see the output how it will work. So our API is running in the background in the port in the host, and we can see here this one, and we will put the breakpoint and see when we are receiving this one. So it has to run every minute. So let's wait for 1 minute. Okay, so it is not hitting. So we forgot to do one thing. What we need to do, we need to add the dependency injection. for this. So this is a main part. So we need to configure the dependency injection. Let us go to the startup file, and we need to mention that in the background service supposed to be run as a service dot add singleton. We are running it in a once I hosted service. This is our schedule task. So sample task 1. So this is the class we are going to inject it here. So we have mentioned here. So now it will work. Let's build the project and make it work. Okay, the API is started now, and this is there, and we will wait for that to come. So these and all started. We put the breakpoint here. Yeah, we got successful. So our task is coming here. So what we will do, we'll try to execute it now. And let's wait for another one to come. So the sample task is executed on 10:05. So let's wait for another minute to come. Yeah, it is hitting now. So I'm executing again. Let's we see. Yeah, it is coming. Sample task 1 is executed, and the first one and the second one. So it's writing the things. So the next step, we can add a number of tasks as we need. So let me wait for one moment, and the next point will trigger. After that we will add one more task, and we will just run it parallelly to see all the tasks are running successfully or not. So it's hitting now, and it's completed, and we will see here. Okay, so this is executed now. So it is executing every minute, 46, 47, 48. So we can configure such a way the background tasks. So we successfully configured. The another one is I am going to create the same task, task 2. So again I'm going to do the same. So what I do, I will just take a snap of it and adding the required I'm inheriting the class scheduled processor. So this also fine. So which means we are good to go now. So here 2, and what we do, I will just type some math dot math dot random. Okay, let it be there. So that will run every seconds. So how do you mention in that seconds? Make it as 0, make it do we have any option to run it as in seconds? Okay, let us search here. So what we do, I don't think we have option, but still, see, they put 30. What is that? Total 5. They have mentioned. I don't think we have option, but still. This is what they are saying. You can't, but okay, let us wait. So I will close this one and I will make it as 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes it will run. So let us the same time I need to add one more thing. I am going to duplicate this one as 2. Okay, so this is singleton. So this singleton will be running once. It is initiated only once when the app is deployed. It will run forever until the application gets stopped. So it's a singleton. We are mentioning the dependency injection as a singleton. So let us see. The basic API is ready and it's running, and we will see there should be some trigger in place. It might hit. Let us wait for that to come. So the task 1 will be executed in 1 minute and the task 2 will be executed in every 2 minutes. So that is our configuration that we have made. 2 minutes. So this will execute in 2 minutes. Okay. So for now let it be there. Yeah. So the task 1 is executed now and we can see the output here. It's 52, and the next minute when it is hitting, that time the task 2 also should be there. So which means we have achieved that 2 tasks running parallelly. So if we wanted the database contacts, DB contacts, everything we need, we can create our separate service and include that service from here, and we can take it and we can run it. That also we can do it. So that I will do in the next thing. So the one of the task 2 is coming. Task 2 also it's there. So let's go. So now this is executed successfully. Okay, so here I wanted to highlight one thing. Here we have a service provider. We actually not using anything from here. So what we ideally what it will do here, in an enterprise application, or any application, what we do, we can create our own interface and some services. So from there we need to that will be defined as a scoped one. So I am going to create the sample one as here I am going to add services. So this is going to be internal services. So for that I am going to create one interface. Let's say some report generator service. So I'm making it as public interface. So what I will do, I'm going to create one method. So say void maybe string, some method string generate daily report, let's say, for example. So this is the report is going to generate. So what I will do, I will just create one more service here, to implement this interface. So so this will implement this method. So for now what I do, I will just make what I will do, I will just print some commands here for the implementation. So so I'm returning this value. Okay, so just for a sample purpose we are doing it. So here I'm going to create a constructor, so I can inject whatever service which I need, I can inject it from here. So what I will do, I am going to add this as dependency injection as like services dot add scoped. So here so this is how I declared my. So I need to consume this scoped interface into our task. This is the main thing. Situation occurs everywhere. So what we will do, what I am going to do, I am going to create report generator called service. So this is the beauty of this one, dot get required services. So I will just mention this one here, that's it, get required services. This is the key place. So we need to report generated get daily report. So this method will work, it will trigger that place and it will work. So you want to use database, you want to use DB context, whatever the unit of work, whatever you wanted here, you can use it. Though the entire scope will be available for you to work on it. So I will just compile the project, and we will see what is the output we are getting. So in this task 2, actually I mentioned it in task 2. Okay, let's wait for 2 seconds then to see it in action. Okay, the API is ready now. API is serving the data, and we will wait for 1 minute. Okay, it's hitting now, and breakpoint is coming, and this one is there, and we will wait for the second minute, the second task to be hit. Yeah, it is hitting now. We have received here also. So we will go one by one. And we can see that it is daily report also is executed. So we are successfully implemented this one. So this is the way we can consume the scoped injections, dependency injections, scoped interface or scoped services. We can use it in our singleton method, singleton service. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for your time, and if you like it, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.